so incredible. Can you even believe it, guys? I mean, seriously. Let me paint you this picture. In the Bible, Peter's on his boat. He sees Jesus. Jesus says, "Come on, Peter. Come out to me." Peter begins to step out of the boat, one foot, the next, and he begins to walk to Jesus. And he keeps his eyes on Jesus, and he's walking on water. And then he looks down. He starts to sink. He starts to flail. He starts to have a panic attack. Jesus comes over to him, grabs him, picks him out of the water. So that right there is an amazing story, because it shows us how much conviction Peter had to be able to get out of the boat, to be able to walk on water. Now, even if it's just a metaphor, there's quite a few scenarios in the Bible, different stories, that Christ was utterly convicted, not like locked up, but compelled, convicted to do the will of his Father. When he was in the desert, I think it was 40 days, 40 nights, the devil tempted him. And he responded to Satan. He said, "Get behind me, Satan." He was compelled. He was certain that there was a mission in front of him. The 12 disciples, he told them, he says, "For those who want to follow me, you may have to give up everything. Leave your wife, leave your kids behind, and follow me. Pick up your cross." There's these constant stories about faith. Christ himself was willing to die for the sins of everyone. Christ himself had to have been a great leader, leading through his conviction to be able to lead all of these people. He got 12 men to leave their homes to follow him through this, through these various towns. I mean, he must have been pretty persuasive. You don't get persuasive by being half-hearted and lukewarm. And it's funny because in the Bible it actually talks about, if you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out. God doesn't want us to be lukewarm. I've been thinking about this lately, and it is such a powerful, powerful concept that will change your life. But I've realized that it can be very exhausting. All right, it can be very, very exhausting because it's something that we're not used to. It's living with extreme faith. All right, let me talk to you about this real quick, because this is going to change everything. And I don't want this just to motivate you. I want this to actually stick with you until you know that you know, man, like, without a shadow of a doubt, like, you just know that this is it. All right, so here it is. Here it is. When I started working at Mini Cooper, I was selling cars. I had this period when I first started where I actually bought a Mini Cooper, right? And then I'm selling them. So I'm driving around. I just learned how to drive stick shift. I'm driving stick shift. I'm cruising. I'm taking the corners. I love the Mini. It's a fun car. I look kind of absurd in it. It only helps me more of how fun this car is. I was willing to give up all the room just so that I could be in this car. And guess what? I'm selling them. And you know what? None of the other salesmen were selling Minis. They were driving Hondas, Toyotas, good cars, but they weren't driving Minis. They weren't driving the thing that they were selling. When I bought that Mini, something happened to my sales. First off, I went from being a car wash boy, running errands, dropping off cars, to selling the cars and making more money than almost everyone in the entire dealership, other than the general manager. all right, and the CEO. When I got that mini, what happened to me is I won 3 months straight of top sales. My performance shot up. What happened was I had a new level of conviction in my life for this product that whenever a customer would come to me, my conviction, my love for the product was so strong. I was sold on this product myself. I could sell it to other people. The conversation that we had yesterday about being the fruit, finding, being valuable, knowing your worth is very important. I'm not saying to fake it until you make it. I don't want you to fake it until you make it. What I want you guys to do is have conviction that your life is meaningful. Do you know how many great men and women, I don't actually, but how many great men and women have actually lived their lives with that concept to think that they were destined by the gods, that God had a plan for their life, or that they were here to do something? When you have conviction, it changes everything. You wake up, you get up, you do something, it's easier. I've been telling guys this that are going to school. If you're going to school, don't be half-hearted about it. Don't be lukewarm, all right? Look, there's no use pursuing a degree that you just don't like. You're going to end up wasting time. You're going to find yourself middle of the road, second-guessing yourself. That's what have you start changing your majors. Sure, life happens. I get that. But how much better would it be if you just knew, if you took some time to sell yourself? That's what it's about. Selling yourself on the life you're living. Sell yourself, man, and everything changes. You get super motivated that you don't even need motivation. All right, your life has meaning. It takes on purpose. There's weight behind it. You're not just floating around nihilistic, this living this meaningless life. When you have some sort of meaning because you decided to sell yourself on that, it all changes, man. So if, before going to school, take some time to think, what does it look like when I get out of here? Am I helping people? Do I want to do this to help people? If you're going for the wrong reasons just to make money, just because your parents will maybe find some, it'll be prestigious to them, guys, it's going to fail. Most likely. Sure, you come out, you get a job, and then what? You're 40, you're 30 years old, you spent all this time going to med school, now you're unhappy. All right? Now, sometimes you don't get to, sometimes you may not like it at first, and you start to grow to like it. That can also happen. Once you realize the impact that you're leaving in, the fulfillment that the work gives you, but to be convicted that you're doing something for a greater purpose. You see, I think I got a lot to touch on here, but man, I think it's left us these days. You don't see this conviction in a lot of men. You saw it in Christ. You saw it in his disciples. All right, to do the will of the Father. That they had to go. He had to die for our sins. It was something he had to do. He was compelled on another level, man. This applies to your sales. So if you're selling that stuff, you should buy the car, at least rent a car, that you're selling, to be fully convicted. When I first started YouTube, I was fully convicted that what I was doing was meaningful and that it was helping other people. And then what ended up happening is I created 2-3 videos a day. Everyone else was doing 1 video a week, 1 video. I was doing 3 a day, dude. 3 a day. In 2 years, I think I had about 1,000 videos, probably over 1,000 videos. I've slowed down a lot. And part of the reason I slowed down, I lost the conviction. I stopped selling myself. I stopped believing with 100% certainty that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, that this helps someone. There were times that I've gone away from the core of it and was more of my finances, I'm worried about money, I'm worried about this. Worry sort of seeped in, fear set in, and it took its roots inside of me. when you get back to the basic, when you get back to the original why of why you do stuff, it's literally like you turn Super Saiyan and you have the spirit inside of you of that will carry you to new heights. It's more than motivation, but it's exhausting. All right, it's exhausting until you actually are sold on it. So it's important to take out time to sell yourself on why you do what you do, on why you're doing the things that you get up in the morning for. It gives a new level of just power to your life. One reason that I think many men these days don't have it is because we used to be inside of a tribe, and when there's other people relying on you, you're forced to perform. You're forced to strive for some greater purpose, some greater good, so that the entire tribe and the entire family, the community, they also flourish. It's not just about you. A huge part of our motivation comes from caring about other people, wanting to see them benefit. We get rewarded, oxytocin, serotonin, all these good chemicals bond. That's how we're meant to thrive. And now we're all isolated. We don't see that our lives actually have meaning, and it's tough. So that can be another reason why it's exhausting. And it's worth sitting down, writing out, really thinking about, man, like, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to get into sales and sell something, if I'm going to have a product, my workouts, what I'm doing, if I'm going to do this, I might as well be fully convicted that it is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Because the people that see you, the people that watch you, they're going to not be sure. You see a lot of these YouTubers that do the self-development stuff, and you're just kind of unsure if they really mean it. Do they really live it? They talk about NoFap. I've done this. Do they really believe it? Do they really believe what they're preaching? Or are they just regurgitating? Also guilty of that. All right? It comes down to, what do you really believe in? Do you really believe that what you're doing has meaning? And if not, then why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Is it just for money? Sometimes you got to do stuff. I understand that's not always fun. You don't get to always chase this passion. You don't always get to do that. Sometimes you're just trying to make it another day, man. I know how it is. But I'm saying, if you look at your life and you can find conviction, you can find purpose, you got to jump on it. You got to fully give, you got to set fire to the sail, dude. Set full sail, full speed ahead, do or die, sink or swim. All right? And that is spiritedness. That gives you life, dude. All right? Just like Peter walking on water, what ended up happening is he got unsold. He had success, and then he met with failure. He took his eyes off. He stopped having faith. All right? He took his eyes. He wasn't convicted that this was really happening. He was walking on water, for crying out loud. Imagine us. We're walking on water, and then we start to sink. There's sharks underneath us. All right? We're in over our heads. We took our eyes off. And so it's constant. You'll see how this applies to every area of your life. You gotta be convicted yourself. You have to sell yourself on what you're doing. You have to be the most one invested in what you're doing. Just like I talked about yesterday. All right? When it comes, be a guy that looks at yourself and knows that his life is meaningful. He has meaning. Don't fake it until you make. Don't posture and, oh, look at me, I'm the best. That's not what I want you guys to do. All right? I said be the best fruit on the shelf. I'm saying have a little bit of backbone. Know your self-worth. All right? You're not just meaningless. You can do something with your life. You can make it great. There's plenty of buyers out there. All right? Be sold on yourself first before you try to sell. Be sold on yourself first, man. All right? So that's it. We're going to talk about this more, guys. Check out the Patreon, because that is what fuels the channel. That's what gets these messages out there. I'm also going to be diving into these topics more. All right? More nuanced stuff I'm going to put on there. But guys, your support means everything. It helps me keep this channel going. It helps reach a ton of young men in the world. And yeah, thank you so much. All right, so check out the Patreon down there, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.